Couple of missed starts for Darren Barton could be punished here. Montgomery a chance to break the throw. Give me the same equation, 2 darts at the double. Different result. Different result all round here for Ross Montgomery, looking so much more composed today.
Darren, you require 20. Game shot at 6th leg.
All square.
Barton.
3-0 becomes 3-3. Brilliant display of big hitting. And that is how to turn a game around. He was 3-0 down. He's hit 4 180s in coming back to 3-3. And he's got to go at the bull to win it 4-3. Brilliant
Game
by
shot
Barton,
and the match, Darren
who
Barton.
beds the bullseye to defeat Ross Montgomery for the first time this week, and to do it with a great escape, turning around the tie. And the maximum hitting was out of the top draw. He may be a debutant, a rookie on the Super Series stage, but the numbers stack up for Darren Barton in that one. Turned the game around totally. 4 180s in a comeback win, and he takes his points tally into double figures and puts a real gap between himself and Ross Montgomery. Maybe, just maybe, there could be other ambitions for Darren Barton today. Who knows? But Mike Warburton and Andreas Harrysson, well, their ambitions are clear. They're battling it out for top spot along with Justin Smith, and the Welshman and the Swede go head-to-head next.
Andreas, you
If
require
Harrysson
93.
cannot complete this combination. Goes big and bold.
Game shot on a 6th
And
leg.
brilliant.
Andreas Harrison.
Andreas Harrysson made that look easy and forces a last leg shootout.
Andreas,
the last
you
leg of the
require
match.
39.
And it's double 16 to win it.
Game shot and the
Wow,
match.
that's
Andreas
absolutely
Harrison.
brilliant from Harrysson. Warburton just being really hit hard at the end there. The brutal bounce out that kicked off the leg for him was a dagger in the heart, really, of Mike Warburton, and Andreas Harrysson really turned the screw. 4-3 success in a game that had been scrappy up until that closing leg. He won it in 14 darts, and in doing so goes level at the top of the table with Justin Smith, who's in action next against Vander Enda. The double denied instead,
13.
so Smith looking to clean up the 13. 5 for double 4.
Game shot on the
3-0.
3rd leg. Justin Smith.
And it is going as it was written on the script.
Oh.
Catch me if you can.
Game
What a
shot
performance.
and the match,
What a
Justin
win.
Smith.
A 4-0 success for Smith, who says to Andreas Harrysson and Mike Warburton, I'm going to take some stopping. A whitewash and a performance to remember. The numbers stack up superbly for Smith. 107.36, by far the best performance of the week so far. 4 out of 7 on the doubles as well, including that unconventional but effective 99 checkout. Vander Enda could not do a thing. Only 1 dart double for the Dutchman, and Smith has lift-off, 2 points clear of Harrysson. He'll be back in action in a couple of games' time, but before that, Mike Warburton needing to put right the wrong from game 1 when he takes on Darren Barton.
4. Game shot on his 2nd leg, Mike Warburton.
That'll feel like a bit of a steal there for Mike Warburton. An absolute mess.
Darren, you require 118.
Double 19 this time.
Game shot on
Well,
the 3rd leg, Darren Barton.
no trouble on the 180s, no trouble on the 118.
Game shot and the match.
And he does get the
Mike
job
Warburton.
done. Mike Warburton needed to win that game, not only to keep home his ambitions of getting top spot, but to fend off Darren Barton, who was closing in on 3rd place. That battle doesn't look like it's one that's going to happen after Warby wins this war. 4-2, and it's the 4th game today that's gone to the player throwing 2nd in the match. Is that ominous for Justin Smith, who has the darts against Ross Montgomery in the game that follows this break? Well, that's okay. He could have missed anywhere. He's got quite lucky with that miss, but then he needed a big 15
42.
to get a go at the
Rossi
bullseye.
require 8.
Kind of criminal that in this situation.
Game
And
shot
Ross Montgomery
match.
takes
Ross Montgomery.
full advantage, and that blows this group wide open. Justin Smith stays on 18 points. Montgomery picks up his 4th win of the week. A real surprise. Where's it come from? He's been so good, Justin Smith, in most of his matches, but Montgomery gets a win there. An average of 88.3 up there with his best of the week so far. A couple of 180s in there as well for Montgomery, doubling his tally for the week in that department. But the impact on the group is enormous. It means that Andreas Harrysson can now go level with Justin Smith if he beats Dennis Vander Enda after the break.
Andreas, you require 60.
For the win, Andreas Harrysson is making his move at the Motor Super Series. A 4-1 success against Dennis Vander Enda. And having had full control of this group, suddenly
Darren Barton.
Justin Smith is standing over the tungsten trapdoor. Andreas Harrysson and Mike Warburton ready to pounce after he is beaten by Darren Barton. The frustration evident for Justin Smith. Barton gets a victory in what was actually quite a scrappy affair when you look at the numbers. The tension evident on the stage, and Justin Smith has been beaten in back-to-back matches. He remains top of the table, but by the skin of his teeth, level on points with Andreas Harrysson, and Mike Warburton can join them both on 18 if he can get the better of Dennis Vander Enda next. Well, he still gets a double, and he hits that double.
First leg, Dennis Vander Enda.
What twists and turns we're getting here suddenly. The tungsten tension too much. The ball. Oh, that is superb. Out of nowhere. Well, Mike Warburton might be about to put him away here. Double 4. Nicely done. He just put his foot down towards the end of the match. A 1-2-1 was the catalyst for Warburton. Then a 15-darter to close out a 4-1 win that keeps him very, very interested in this race to win the group. It's tied between 3 of them, neck and neck. 18 points for Justin Smith, 18 points for Andreas Harrysson, and 18 points now after that 4-1 win for Mike Warburton. The Welshman remains in the mix, but Harrysson has the opportunity to put himself in pole position when he takes on Ross Montgomery after this break. Still in the balance list, I guess Harrisson's on to finish first, but he can only get a maximum of 1 double from it, and Ross Montgomery's going to be in a much more favourable position here.
137.
Much more favourable position.
You require 102.
Double 16 to stop Ross Montgomery coming back and having the opportunity to regain the advantage. No problems there on the finishing for Ross Montgomery, who kind of surprised himself.
And that's been a problem that has plagued Ross Montgomery all throughout this week. And Harrysson may make him pay.
100.
But that could be a huge dart when all's said and done today.
Game shot.
He's at it again.
Ross Montgomery.
Ross Montgomery proving to be a thorn in the side of the players that are battling it out to win this group. He's not in that discussion, but he's making a name for himself today, that's for certain. Having beaten Justin Smith and starting a troublesome day for the league leader. Smith stays on top because Montgomery has now added Harrysson to his list of scalps. He's done it with a decent performance as well. Harrysson was pretty good, but did miss a dart to win that match. And that means that going into the final 2 rounds of fixtures in this group, we have 3 players tied on the same points at the top of the table. And 2 of them will go head-to-head next as Justin Smith meets Mike Warburton. For that to happen, Smith has to fail to take out 79. He started today with a statement. He's just made another one. Justin Smith defeats Mike Warburton 4-0. A defeat that means Warby will not win this group. We'll see him on Thursday and Friday evening, but Smith might get the nights off. He's now in a straight race with Andreas Harrysson after that very comfortable win, very convincing, to turn his day around. An average of 92 and change, 4 out of 9 on the doubles. That 79 checkout was a match-winning shot. He whitewashes Warburton to condemn Warburton to playing in Group B. He's still in the race to win the group, as is Andreas Harrysson, who is in action after the break.
Andreas, you
Maverick move from Darren Barton as Andreas looks for the Shanghai shot.
Game shot at second leg.
Andreas Harrysson got a telling off for that 3-ball attempt. He won't be getting a telling off for that one.
Darren, you
a dart. He managed it actually with the 3rd dart, but the 2nd ended up on the floor, allowing Barton the chance to hit back with the same finish that was hit against him in the last leg.
Game shot on the 3rd leg.
A sweet repeat as Barton mirrors the 120 shot and breaks the Harrysson throw.
Darren, you require 71.
To win enough matches. Of course, it's a shortened day, doesn't have a chance to grow into that group, but he has had a 3-day run-up of getting accustomed to the Super Series stage. 18s and tops.
31.
Over the top, but Harrysson
you require 108.
on a combo.
Game shot on the 4th leg.
That's a
Andreas
brilliant
Harrysson.
finish. And it's a couple of those.
Andreas, you require 20.
Another opportunity to take it to the final game.
And
that
Andreas Harrysson
is what happens. Andreas Harrysson with a 4-3 win, a hard-fought 4-3 win, it has to be said, against Darren Barton, who's caused all sorts of problems for opponents on his debut in this Group A. But it's a Group A that will be decided in the last round of fixtures, and with a single shootout showdown between Andreas Harrysson and Justin Smith. Vander Enda and Ross Montgomery are going to play next, and then that winner-takes-all clash will take place. Do not go anywhere. Brilliant improvement. Visit by visit. 1 treble, visit 1, 2 trebles, visit 2, 3 trebles in a 3rd visit.
140.
That was our 5th maximum of the game as well. Montgomery now has 6 starts to get it done.
Super stuff from the Scot. What a way to close out the game. An 11 darter. That's what he's been looking for all week, and maybe it's just coming. And maybe we'll see a different Ross Montgomery in Group C, where he will play Vander Enda again. It was a good game between the pair, in truth. 10 points between them and the averages. Vander Enda's timing was good, hitting those 180s at the back end of legs. Montgomery added 2 to make it 5 in the match, but that 84 checkout came at the end of an 11 dart leg that sees Ross Montgomery pick up another win today. 3 from 4 for him, but the big one is coming next. Who will be the first through to finals night? We'll find out when Andreas Harrysson and Justin Smith go head-to-head in a straight shootout after the break.
Justin, you require 36. Game shot on the 3rd leg.
He does win the leg in some style. He needed to.
Justin, you require 110.
Big last start there from Harrysson.
Signs of nervousness. Composes himself. and
Game
hits.
shot on the fourth leg.
Big
Smith.
dart from Justin Smith, who levels the match. We have deadlock at 2-2.
To gain control.
Game shot on the
And he
fifth
does.
leg.
It's a total
Justin
turnaround.
Andreas, you require
That last dart probably
141.
keeps that advantage. Unless... Double 18. Oh
Game shot on
my.
the sixth leg.
That is how you
Andreas
stay in it.
Harrysson.
A table-turning checkout by Andreas Harrysson. Harrysson took out 1-2-1 and kind of said, well, I do that quite a lot. Well, he's just done 1-4-1
81. Andreas,
to
you
force this
require
decider.
141.
Surely he's not going to do that again. Is he? Oh, not on this occasion, just beyond him.
85.
But still firmly now in the box seat.
2 trebles, the minimum requirement you feel here for Justin Smith to give himself a realistic opportunity.
57.
He doesn't find any.
Andreas, you require 56.
2 visits for Harrysson to win the group.
36.
All Smith can do is hit and hope.
100.
He hardly
Andreas,
hits.
you require 20.
Do his hopes end here?
Game shot and the match.
It's Harrysson.
Andreas Harrysson.
It's Andreas Harrysson who wins Group A by virtue of that brilliant tide-turning, table-turning, group-winning 1-4-1 checkout that forced the decider in that match. A straight shootout it turned out to be. And Justin Smith, who's been treading water at the top of the table all day, is finally unseated by Andreas Harrysson, who makes a return to finals night of the Super Series by winning Group A. Well, they're the numbers, but they can't tell you how dramatic that game was. It looked like he was heading Smith's way when he turned around a 2-leg deficit to lead 3-2. And Harrysson found that fabulous 1-4-1 to level the match and went on to win it with a very good closing leg as well. He's through to the final. Smith will be back in action tomorrow, and we will hear from the group winner. Been far from a mess in truth, hasn't it? Fantastic.
And the match.
A perfectly polished performance by Ross Montgomery, who whitewashes Warby to sign off what's been a difficult few days with something to really take into Group C. He's won 4 out of his 5 matches today, actually tops the daily table, and in that one had an average of just shy of 102. 4 out of 5 his checkout percentage and his win ratio for Wednesday, and Ross Montgomery will be a force to be reckoned with in Group C from 1 p.m. tomorrow. But we've got one more match to come in Group A, and it's the 2 players that are joining him in that group. Darren Barton taking on Dennis Vander. Enda. Bullseye for Barton.
Game shot on his second leg.
Perfectly
Darren Barton.
pitched. 2-0.
Especially when they end up making a bit of a mess of it and they've had opportunities like Vander Enda had there.
108.
But where is this 180 hitting come at the back end of the day? He hit 1 on Monday, 1 on Tuesday. He's at 7 in his last couple of games.
140.
Maybe there is just something to cling on to. Maybe he can
96.
reset and try and fight for a way through to finals night from Group C. I think it's really interesting, that Group C. Jamie Kelly, we know what to expect, but haven't seen here for a while. We know what he can do, but not what he will do. Ross Montgomery, a couple of days ago, you would have said, well, he's there for the taking. As Dennis hits another one. But on today's evidence, he's going to be
Darren, you require
the man to beat in that
140.
group. And then the other players really are pretty unknown quantities.
100. Dennis, you require 45. Game shot on the third leg. Dennis Vander.
So Vander Enda will not.
$96. Darren, you require 40.
Is this the Ender? It
Game
is.
shot and the match.
As Darren Barton lands tops to make it another defeat, a hat-trick of wins against Dennis Vander, Enda, who only managed to get one win in Group A. He'll be hoping things will go rather better in Group C when the action resumes tomorrow. Darren Barton will be in that group with him. He's been a nemesis to Dennis so far, but it's been a very decent debut for Darren Barton, and we look forward to seeing him again later in the week. Andreas Harrysson, though, we'll be seeing on Saturday night at the finals, and you could be there as well. So all that's left to do then is for myself and Matthew Edgar to discuss what's happened today and indeed this week, and we have to start with Andreas Harrysson because once again the Swede is through to Saturday.
He's done it well, hasn't he? It's not been the highest quality of group, but what there's been is a lot of head-to-heads, a lot of close battles, a lot of big games and big moments, and when they have come, Andreas Harrysson has been the more consistent and the more reliable.
And speaking of big moments, there were none bigger than that fabulous 1-4-1 checkout against Justin Smith. But for that, it would be Smith through to Saturday.
Well, the context of that was Smith was sat on a potential 2-darter to win the match, which would have booked him through. Andreas Harrysson, a massive 1-4-1. Both players very well aware of what that meant. But it wasn't just the 1-4-1. It's the way he then responded in the next leg and kicked off and opened up a gap in the scoring department. He had the advantage of throw as well. That was a big, big turning moment.
We'll talk about Harrysson again in a moment, but let's talk about Smith for a second. Look, he had a mixed day, didn't he? Started it with an absolutely stunning performance, the best average of anyone this week, and then went missing in the middle. What went wrong from here?
I wish I had the answer. I've been trying to find it all week. I've been trying to scrutinise the performances of Justin Smith, and I've been trying to come up with reasons, but sometimes there just doesn't seem to be one. And I do think, though, that a lot of the problem with Justin Smith is when he's going up against the players where he sort of expects to win, or it feels like it's starting to get into a flow for him. I think sometimes he may just get a little bit idle in the throw a little bit. We can see that sometimes in the angle of entry of the darts as well. So I think for Justin, concentration levels just need to up a little bit.
Mike Warburton, he was sort of in it until right at the end, but he never really felt in it. Did you get that impression as well?
He was chasing, wasn't he? He was chasing throughout the day. He felt like he was clinging on at times as well. The darts didn't quite go for him today. A lot of flyer darts, a lot of darts very high in the bed, up in the 5 and up in the 20. And he'll find that a little bit concerning, but on the same aspect now, he's got another opportunity to start from afresh. We've seen him many times at the back end of the weeks come really, really strong. Certainly the last time I was here, Mike was here as well, and he dominated the Group C campaign after what was probably a very similar sort of Group A campaign for him on that occasion. So enough signs in there, enough positive, but I fully agree. I don't feel like he ever really was in that top place chase.
And speaking of positive signs, a player of the day was Ross Montgomery, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. He only lost one leg that he couldn't potentially win. That was when he was 3-0 up at the start of the day. Didn't get over the line, but was getting stronger and stronger. He had the performance of the week. He backed that up with the performance of the week. So real good, intriguing signs going into that Group C. I think if he had a choice of going in B or C, I think he'd pick Group C on the evidence of what's to come.
Yeah, he is in Group C, which can be illustrated by the Group A table. The bottom three fall into that. So Montgomery, along with Darren Barton and Dennis Vander Enda. Warburton and Smith go into a very tough Group B. Andreas Harrysson winning this group, so he's through to finals night. And these are the players that are going to be joining the Group A players in week 2. So Tommy Morris, Robert Thornton and Martin Adams in that Group B. That is going to be tough. Group C, Ryan Bradley, 16 years of age, an ADC qualifier in Dan Nichols, and Jamie Kelling, who we've seen here many times. Looking at that, Andreas Harrisson's going to be relieved not to have fallen into that Group B, isn't he?
Absolutely. It shows how big that game really was. And I said on commentary, if you give Justin Smith the chance, would he take Group B or would he opt for Group C? And I think he would. I think he'd switch away from there. I think Ross Montgomery is actually in the best position here because he's going into there now in form off the back of the result that he's had today and the wins that he's had today, the form that he's shown, and then he's going in there with a couple of debutants as well. And we know sometimes, or a majority of the time, when people come here to the Super Series, it just takes them a couple of games to adapt, and you don't have long in that Group C, just a 2-day group.
What do you make of the debutant we have seen in this group, in Darren Barton, who's falling into that group himself?
I like what I've seen so far. I would make him one of the favourites to come out of that group. He's certainly going to be in the running. He's got better as the week's gone on, and that's not to discredit what he did on Monday. He played well. He just didn't get the results. I don't think he's going to run into the big hitters like you've got here in Andreas, Harrysson, Warburton and Justin Smith, where they can hit those big performances. I think it's going to come down to moments, and what he's done is shown us that he can handle those and handle them well. And he's got that secret weapon, that big 180 hitting, and that could come into a real big moment.
Well, my final question is going to be on handling big moments. Look, we talk about experience, the likes of Martin Adams, Robert Thornton coming in. They've got the most experience. But in terms of here, maybe Andreas Harrisson's the player who's got that, who's been through it on the big stage. He's done the best you can do by taking a series. And did we see all that kind of come into play today for him? Is that why he's won this group?
I think it's because he doesn't care. Or maybe he doesn't care, maybe he doesn't know. Ignorance is bliss at times, and Andreas Harrysson doesn't follow the situation as much as other people do. Yes, he keeps an eye on the league table, but he's not intensely looking at going, I need to win this many legs, and we're breaking all that down on commentary. We're looking at the situation and we go, well, actually, if he loses this by this score, he's going to be in big trouble. And he doesn't think like that. There was that game as well before the Justin Smith game where had he lost the last leg shootout, he'd have needed to win 4-0 against Justin Smith. And when you're aware of those sort of situations, it adds pressure. So Andreas Harrysson, ignorance is bliss.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for your input today. We'll see you again tomorrow. We'll see you for a double session of darts. It all gets underway from 1 p.m. live here on the Modus Super Series YouTube channel. But on Saturday, we are going to see our Series 7 champion walk through the doors again after winning Group A. It's hurrah for Harrysson, who's through to finals night once more.